In every single organization, there are two maps. First, there's the official one, that neat, tidy org chart that shows how things are supposed to work. And then there's the real map. It's an invisible network of influence that decides how things actually get done. Today, we're going to decode that real map.
So, let's start with what is probably the single most important rule in all of organizational dynamics. Never, ever mistake the organizational chart for the actual map of power. Now, this isn't just some clever saying, it's practically a law of human systems. See, formal authority, the kind you get with a title, that's just granted from above. It can be moved around, restructured, even taken away in a second. But real influence, oh, that's something else entirely. That is earned. From peer to peer, it's tough, it's powerful, and it operates on a completely different frequency than the official hierarchy.
And this gets us to the central paradox of this whole thing. The chart is a lie. That title on your business card, it's really just a placeholder for control, not a guarantee. Because in any group of people, the official hierarchy is always being tested. And a lot of the time, it's being overruled by an unwritten map. A map drawn with the lines of expertise, of trust, of proven competence. This is where the real power lives. And to ignore it, that's a huge strategic mistake.
When you have this gap between the formal chart and the real map, it creates this kind of silent tax on the whole organization, a hidden cost of hierarchy. It's this weird psychological thing where the written rules of rank just get quietly ignored in favor of the unwritten rules of influence. You'll see an engineer, right? No direct reports, but they can command more respect and get more action than their own manager. And it's not some kind of rebellion. It's because their colleagues have logically and voluntarily decided to follow someone who's proven they know what they're doing, instead of just following an assigned title.
So what does this actually feel like for a leader who's caught in the middle of this? Well, it feels like you're running headfirst into an invisible wall of resistance. You've got the title, you've got the authority on paper, but your projects just stall. Your decisions are met with 1,000 tiny little questions. There's this friction, this drag that you just can't quite put your finger on. What you're experiencing is a major power imbalance. Your formal authority is being systematically undermined. And that feeling, that's an identity threat. It's that slow, sinking realization that your team doesn't actually see you as the leader.
Now, what's really fascinating are the specific symptoms. First up, you've got decision paralysis. You find yourself hesitating because you can already feel that subtle pushback coming. Then, there's that crippling organizational drag. I mean, everything just takes forever. Simple tasks turn into these complex negotiations. And this is all fueled by that third one, constant, low-level stonewalling. It's never one big no. It's a dozen small, plausibly deniable delays that just grind all your momentum to a halt. And the inevitable result of all this? Strategic failure. Your plans don't fail because they were bad ideas. They fail because they never got the genuine buy-in from the people who were supposed to make them happen.
And this all points to the leader's biggest and honestly most common mistake. They mistake compliance for commitment. And we need to be really clear about the difference here. Compliance, that's just surface-level obedience. It's fragile, it's forced, and it follows the title. It's the yes you get just because you're the boss. But commitment, that's genuine buy-in. It's voluntary, it is incredibly powerful, and it follows competence, not a title. The informal leader, they command commitment. The formal leader who doesn't get this is left holding an empty shell of compliance, and they're always the last one to figure it out.
All right, so we've diagnosed the problem. Now we're going to switch gears and get into strategic analysis mode. To really understand this hidden world, you have to understand its physics, the currencies that are being traded to create all this influence. We're about to map the real power by decoding the three currencies that run this whole invisible economy.
First things first, you have to recognize there are two fundamental arenas where power exists. On one side, you've got positional power. Its source, the organization. It's just granted to you. And its stability? Well, it's fragile. It can be taken away. Then on the other side, you have personal power. Its source is your peers. It has to be earned. And its stability is resilient because it's built on the solid rock of trust and what you can actually do. And that personal power, that's the engine that drives the entire informal network.
Okay, so the first and most critical currency of personal power is what we call expert power. This is the influence that comes from having knowledge or skills that are absolutely crucial for the team to succeed. Now, the key word here, the strategic term, is non-substitutable. If you are the only one who really understands that old database, or the only person a key client really trusts, you've got expert power. People listen to you not because they have to, but because they rationally want things to go well.
The second currency is informational power. Now, think of this one as the control of knowledge, not just having it. It's the leverage you get by being the gatekeeper of scarce information that other people need to do their jobs. It's knowing the project's unwritten history, or the political landmines in other departments, or just how things really get done around here. If expertise is about knowing what to do, informational power is about knowing how it gets done. And by controlling that flow, you create dependency. And dependency is a very, very powerful form of leverage.
And these first two currencies, they build towards the third and most durable form of influence, referent power. This is the power you earn simply through trust, respect, and admiration. It's what you get after you've consistently provided value using your expert and informational power. When you're the person who reliably helps others succeed, they start to trust your judgment, even on things outside of your main expertise. They give you their respect voluntarily, not because they have to, but because they actually believe in you. This, right here, is the endgame of personal power.
So we've got the currencies, expert, informational, and referent power. But how do they all work together? I mean, how does this informal influence grow and escalate and become so powerful that it can literally override the official org chart? Well, it's not random. There is a specific mechanical process at work here, an engine of influence that's just constantly running in the background. Let's break down how this builds using something called the Utility-Deference feedback loop. It's a really simple but incredibly powerful 4-step cycle. Step 1. An individual provides utility. They use their expert or informational power to help the group solve a critical problem. Step 2. In return, the group gives them deference. They start listening, they start asking for that person's input. It's a totally voluntary, rational exchange. Step 3. This happens over and over, and it builds referent power. That deference turns into deep respect, and suddenly their influence becomes self-sustaining. And this all leads to the big payoff in Step 4. They now control the actual decision-making process, all without the title, the budget, or any of the formal risk that the designated manager has to carry.
And the key thing to understand is that the core tactic, the control mechanism that drives this entire engine, is resource gatekeeping. The informal leader holds onto their position by controlling access to that non-substitutable knowledge. And here's the leverage point. They control the one resource the manager doesn't, that deep, institutional, practical knowledge the team needs to actually function. This is the moment the control really shifts, when the formal leader has to go ask their subordinate just to understand how to get the job done.
And this really highlights the psychological turning point. This is where the trap closes, when the team chooses success over obedience. Think about it. If you're faced with a choice between following a manager's order, which might be flawed, or following the informal expert's proven path to a successful outcome, well, the team is almost always going to choose success. And in that moment, the informal leader's control becomes absolute, because now they're perfectly aligned with the team's most powerful motivation, the desire to win.
So why is this system so darn effective? It works because it hacks our deepest psychological needs. First, expert power gives us certainty. In a complicated work environment, it's just easier for our brains to follow a proven expert than to try and figure everything out on our own. It reduces our cognitive load. Second, referent power triggers a really powerful sense of reciprocity. When someone helps you out consistently, you feel this natural social urge to help them back. It creates this bond of mutual obligation. And third, all of this taps into our built-in authority bias. We are just wired to listen to authority, and our brains often see deep, proven competence as a form of authority, completely separate from a title on an org chart.
Okay, we've mapped the terrain, we get the engine, we know the psychology. Now, for a formal leader, this can all feel pretty impossible, but it's not checkmate. It's just a new set of rules you have to play by. So now we're going to pivot from diagnosis to application. We're moving to the solution, a clear strategic protocol for taking back control, not by trying to crush the informal network, but by intelligently aligning it with the formal structure. So the big question is, how do you reclaim the map? How do you take all that powerful organic energy from this informal network and actually channel it toward the organization's real goals? This is not about asserting your dominance or pulling rank. That won't work. It requires a very deliberate, precise, tactical approach. It's all about strategic alignment.
Here it is, the 3-step Formal-Informal Alignment Protocol. Step 1. Map the network. You have to become like an anthropologist for your own team. Watch objectively. Who do people look at in meetings right after you finish speaking? Whose email is always blowing up with questions? Whose opinion is the final word before the real work actually starts? That's your true influence map. Step 2 is the critical tactical move. Neutralize informational scarcity.
The informal leader's leverage comes from being the only source of a resource. You have to break that monopoly. Systematically document their unique knowledge, create SOPs, insist on cross-training. This turns their personal power base into a shared team asset. And step 3, the final and most clever move, co-opt prestige. Do not punish the informal leader. That's a terrible idea, it'll just make them a martyr. Instead, you leverage them. Formally recognize their expertise, make them a designated trainer, a mentor, a subject matter expert on a new project. Give them a formal channel to use their influence, and you align their personal drive for status with the organization's goals for success.
So, what's the ultimate takeaway from all of this? It's a fundamental reframing of what power really is inside a human organization. It's not about titles, it's not about hierarchy. The new rule is this: true, sustainable power is the ability to create and control stability. And that leaves us with one last strategic mental weapon to take with you. Volatility is vulnerability. That informal network, it thrives in ambiguity, in chaos, in undocumented knowledge. Stability, on the other hand, is the single most valuable power resource a leader can control. By creating clear processes, by spreading knowledge far and wide, and by aligning proven competence with formal roles, you create a stable, predictable system. You make the real map and the official chart become one and the same. And that is where you find true, unshakable organizational strength.